Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Dwayne Thompson and I'm from Jamaica, now living in Canada. Well, today I'm going to share a bit of my experience studying here in Canada and transitioning into living and working here. I came to Canada in 2014 to further my studies, and the journey was a very interesting one. This was a decision made to try to uplift myself and broaden my horizons. In this video, I hope you can get some information as it relates to um, coming to Canada to study, or if you want to probably migrate to Canada. This video can give you some information on the initial process in applying for a study permit and coming to Canada to study. I know some people must have toyed with the idea that I was stupid to leave my family and a decent paying government job to come to a cold country and a province that I knew no one. I initially came to a province called Newfoundland and Labrador to study. It was a daunting experience, and I was wondering if I was making a big mistake. But I was determined to, further my studies, and it was something that I really wanted to do. I wanted to, broaden my horizons by going to an overseas university to to study in a new environment and um, in a field that I love. I basically wanted to study um, in Canada because of the opportunities that were available. Um, it would give me a chance to meet new people, to study in another country, and this was a good opportunity to venture into that area. So before coming to Canada, um, I basically researched a number of colleges and universities that had fairly reasonable tuition. So from my research, I came upon a university called Memorial University of Newfoundland. So I basically researched the programs that they offered, and there are a few programs that kind of interested me. Um, One of them was the food safety program because I was working in a lab where I tested food products. So that was a program that really interested me, and I was looking to get into. So basically, I applied to this program, and I was accepted for the food safety program at the Fishers and Marine Institute of Memorial University of Newfoundland. So after receiving my provisional acceptance letter, I would have to pay a small amount just to secure my spot. So I did that and I got my acceptance letter. So it was now basically the next step was to apply to the Canadian Embassy for a study permit to come to Canada to study. The process was a bit challenging, to say the least, because there are a number of requirements stipulated by the Canadian Embassy that you will have to fulfill in order to get a study permit to come to Canada to study. One of the biggest challenges was to provide proof of funds. And the proof of funds was basically um, it's, you'd have to have like 6 months of money saved up to keep you going while you are there. I did not know how I was going to come up with this money, along with the tuition for the program, but my faith was strong, and I was praying about it, and God just put everything in place and eventually just worked things out. So first thing was to figure out how I was going to come up with the tuition, how I was going to come up with the proof of funds. I had some savings, but that was definitely not enough. So every paycheck that I got, I would have to put aside a portion of it, wherever I can get some money to borrow from. Um, that's basically what I did. And the idea of selling my car was another option. So over that period, I think I got through around about March. I was accepted to the program. So it wasn't much time to save up that amount of money. Um, so basically, I had to ask for help from friends, relatives, parents. So that was basically what I did. Uh, so I was able to come up with the proof of funds. The tuition wasn't paid yet, but at least my position was secured. So I was able to come up with the proof of funds, and I gathered all the documentation. And you have to follow the requirements outlined by the Canadian Embassy to meet the criteria for the study permit. So I gathered all the documentation and completed my application, and I submitted my application to the Canadian Embassy. I think I did that one about June, I think it was, and I think it took about a month to process. So it was processed, and around about, I think it was July, I I got a response from the Canadian Embassy, and I was approved for study permit. So I was really elated about that. So I was one step closer to achieving my goal to coming to Canada to study. After that, it was now kind of getting things in place, trying to find a place where I would live while studying here in Canada. So the university offered on their website uh, off-campus housing that you could rent. So I basically contacted a few of these persons, and I was able to secure a one-bedroom apartment, and I made the initial down payment for the apartment to secure it. So I was now able to basically put things in place in terms of where I was going to live. The next step was to come up with the my my airfare and to book my flight to leave in August. And then I had to try and get my car sold before I leave and pay off my outstanding debts to this person that I borrowed money from. So I posted an ad for my car to be sold. Got my car sold and paid off my debts to these persons who I had borrowed money from. So I booked my flight. I think it was around about August 27. I was scheduled to leave. So it was very difficult leaving my family here in leaving my family in Jamaica to go all the way to St. John's, Newfoundland, a province that I knew no one, and it's not really a province that is, you know, fairly well known. I wasn't really familiar with that province. But anyway, I made a decision to leave, and I went with an open mind. Um, but I was still, optimistic that, eventually things will work out. But if for some reason or another things didn't work out, I would, come back home to Jamaica and basically start over. Yeah, basically start over if things didn't go as planned. So yeah, I decided to go with an open mind. So on the day I left, I arrived in the evening in Toronto and then went through customs. But while I was there, they asked me a lot of questions and then they sent me to another area. We had to wait a very long time. And mind you, folks, I was supposed to catch a connecting flight within the next hour. So guess what? I missed my flight. So after the whole ordeal, and they went through my paperwork. Um, I came out of customs, did not know what I was going to do because I missed my flight. So I had to try and see if I could get the flight going out the next morning to St. John's. I did not know what I was going to do in terms of, was I going to sleep over at the airport? But then I remember that I have a cousin who lived maybe about 30 minutes away from Pearson International Airport. So I tried to get a call to him. After many trials, I eventually got through to him, and he came and picked me up, and I slept at his place. And he dropped me back at the airport the following morning for me to catch my outgoing flight to St. John's, Newfoundland. It was like a culture shock um, when I arrived in St. John's. Uh, the persons are friendly, people are friendly in St. John's, but their accent was a bit of a challenge. I couldn't, they speak very fast. So it was a bit of a challenge. I'm trying to understand at first the way the Newfoundlanders spoke, but eventually it was something that I got used to. So I basically lived maybe about 5 minutes away from the school um, that I was going to attend. So I can post another video. I can basically tell you the process in applying for study permits with the embassy in Kingston to get a study permit for Canada. And I will post subsequent videos of my experiences and tell you a bit about the process in terms of studying here and transitioning from a student to a worker and eventually transitioning to applying for permanent residence here in Canada. Uh, Click on the subscription button if you have not yet done so and the notification bell so that you can be aware of when the videos have been posted. Thank you for tuning in and see you next time.